She got poor money management, and like as soon as he say something to me, I feel like I gotta defend myself on my spending habits when he's just literally looking out for me like, hey, this, you need to fix this, you need to fix that. So I used to always look at it as like he's judging me, but in reality, he just really cares for me.
Basically, I'm just trying to see if we can get somewhere because I think, where do you draw the line at? I think it happens on panels, it happens in what's inside of households, just simple communication. I'm all about trying to improve communication. That's the one thing that I think that we need to continue to get better at because that's where we bump heads a lot of times. And so on the giver side, now he has to kind of tiptoe as far as saying what it is that they want to say because the receiver may say, oh, you're judging me, and they may shut down and they may not want to participate in the conversation. Like, where do you draw the line at? Like, what's actual judgment and not judgment?
There's nothing wrong with judging anybody or anything. The problem is that when we have to take the onus or have the, maturity to say, you know what, I was wrong about how I judge that person. Because a lot of times people would judge someone or something to be a certain way. And then even when presented with information contrary to what their judgment was to prove that they're wrong, they still don't admit, you know what, I was wrong about this. I was wrong about that. I was wrong about the way that I looked at it, the way that I reacted, because they have that level of intransigence that just means that, hey, if I admit that I was wrong, then my ego and my persona and my personality is so entrenched in my beliefs, I don't have it in me to change them. Because then when you are presented with that information, it feels like it's a physical attack. And that's where most people lack. Nobody should have an issue being judged about anything they've done, anything they've said, or anything they are. Because you've done those things, you become those things, you said those things. If you don't want to be judged or you want to be viewed a certain way, behave in a way that would make a rational person judge you and view you in that manner.
Here's my biggest thing, because so I'm a woman. I catch a lot of heat from women, and so me personally, I don't talk to men to correct them. I was even when I'm on social media, I won't interject when it comes to a man telling another man something. I don't like to debate men, and when I have debated men, it makes me look even more foolish, like out of character. So I choose to not do that and move that way. But when it comes to having a conversation with women, one of the things that I've noticed the most is that we both fighting for who's right. And majority of the time, if I say, you know what, I don't understand where you come from, but let's have a conversation, it's difficult to have I don't want to say logical, but it's difficult to have a conversation of understanding if they're continuing a conversation from emotion. Especially if I can sit here and try to have empathy, but it's difficult at times. So then you have to take a step back and then take a step back. And then you have to decide on how bad you truly want to have that conversation, especially on social media. On social media, it's always like you got 30 seconds to a minute to state your case or whatever, unless it's like a debating panel, then that's a completely different scenario. But if you're trying to have a conversation and there's no understanding, then that meet me halfway or meet you where you're at doesn't exist if they still think that they only right. One of the things that comes that a lot of women don't like me is because of my perception and understanding and my beliefs of in submission and hierarchy and how, it's God, man, woman, and then children. I stand on that no matter what. And I, even when I respond to that. But rather than having a conversation with me, it results to name calling. It results to, pick me show or pick me. It results to insults. It results to all kinds of other things. So we're going to have a conversation in a certain place and space. We got to also know our limits on how bad we want to have that conversation and how much we're willing to tolerate. Because one thing that I have noticed is that what you entertain today, you're going to tolerate tomorrow. And if I'm not willing to entertain you today, then unfortunately, I won't be able to teach you tomorrow. And we can all learn from each other. I'm not greater than, I'm not less than. And it's also the way that I move as well and what I believe in when it comes to submission. So for me, that's just my belief. That's where I'm at. I believe in God. I tell a lot of people that. Now, I'm not like way up there. I can tell you that, but we have to have the conversation and how much we're willing to tolerate the next day. So what you entertain today, how much you willing to fight for today, how much you willing to argue with for today, then you can tolerate and teach tomorrow. But we can teach each other. The difficult part is that humility is not something that's expressed, and a lot of people walk around with pride and ego.
Yeah, Naomi, perfect, baby. That's all I gotta say, girl. You a good woman, cause me, I am hard headed. I'm a daddy's girl, and I think the thing for me and what I had to learn is if a man is getting on me and giving me some type of advice or giving me something, that means that he cares about me. And it took a minute to realize that. Um, I used to always think of it as I don't know. I just always looked at it as it was bad or like, why is he saying this to me? Why is he saying that to me? And why he, but I come to realize if a man is at least trying to correct you on certain behaviors and certain things that you're doing, that means he cares for you. He cares about you. And me, I used to look at it as I gotta always defend myself. I always gotta say something back, and that's not always the case. And it's honestly, it has something to do with like they were saying, like judgment. That I thought he was just judging me. Oh, he's judging me. He's not just trying to pinpoint, like, okay, she look out. Like sometimes a man will sit back and look at the dumb shit you do. I mean, they would sit back and look at how she spend this. I'm looking at her. Look, all these Amazon packages coming at this damn door. She got poor money management, and like as soon as he say something to me, I feel like I gotta defend myself on my spending habits when he's just literally looking out for me. Like, hey, this, you need to fix this, you need to fix that. So I used to always look at it as like he's judging me, but in reality he just really cares for me. So yeah, so that's just how I feel about that. I'm just really giving a real life perspective on it, because I wasn't always looking at it as if you know it was a good thing. So in my, that's why I agree with the men, leave. Jesus, sometimes they don't listen. Sometimes it takes for you to leave her ass for her to realize, like, damn, I really had a good man, and hey, she just lost. So yeah.
Got a quick question for the ladies, if you don't mind. Do you think what's the probabilities that when someone says you did a bad thing, what do you think the probability is that it's heard as you are a bad person?
I don't think it necessarily had to be you, right, Aaron?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just asking in general because what he's looking at is that maybe the solution is how we are hearing it, right? And so if a man is giving correction, but a woman is looking at it as saying, oh, I must be a bad person, what's the probability that happens?
Now, honestly, it has something to do with the way she respects that man and the way she takes in it. It honestly depends on the respect. Like women know who to play with, they know who to play these certain games with. So I really feel like it just has to do with how well she respects that man.
I want to add to that. I don't think it's the respect, in my opinion. I just think it depends on like the trauma associated with it, because a person can respect somebody, and then when a certain trigger happens, then that's when you often see it. So I don't think
it could be both. It could be both, JR. It could be both.
Yeah, because you never know. I mean, you can be in a relationship for like a year and everything is going great, and then the minute when you guys start having conflict, or he reminded of something, and it can even be the guy, then that's when you'll see the kind of like that last shot in response. Now, how they recover from it, like that's going to be the big decision making as far as how it's just going to go and what it's going to look like. Because I've asked questions like that, like I didn't like the way you responded, and here's why. And then depending on how they engage in that conversation is going to determine how I kind of move forward from there. Because as you get older, that's a big thing for me as far as like how are we resolving this? Because if somebody shuts down and they running and they doing these things, that doesn't feel safe. I think men have to feel safe the same way women got to feel safe.
Yeah.
So then, what's your JR? Real quick, what's your limit on that? Real quick, JR. Like, how much space do you give a woman to say, listen, I'm trying to help, and I'm just trying to be a man, a provider, just trying to help. Like, how much? Like, what's your limit on that? Like, how much patience do you have with a woman not being forthcoming I guess.
Well, I'm gonna have a conversation about it. I mean, I don't really put a time on it because by default, I want to respond and say something else, but it's not gonna go anywhere. So what I like to do is ask questions. I'm gonna ask a question. I'm gonna ask another question. I'm gonna collect as much data as I can before I make a decision. And then if it happens again, but I see a little bit of effort, then I may give a little bit more grace because I'm seeing because change doesn't happen overnight. It's not like you're going to just tell this person this, but if I see the effort there and it could be slight bit of effort, then I'll just, kind of give a little bit of grace there. But if I just see you just plainly disregarding what I'm saying, you don't give a damn, I may say, hey, you remember what you said? I don't give a like, no, we're not doing that. So I think that you have to allow the change to happen, and that effort is going to probably determine where I'm at in that relationship.
And the good thing about it, what JR said when he said asking questions, if she's a good logical woman, once she start asking questions, she start answering this question, she's gonna think about that. Like, God damn, this is what the fuck he's talking about. And now, now she's gonna recognize what he's trying to do, and she's gonna hopefully make the adjustments. If she's a good woman, respectable type woman, and loves this man enough, she'll make those adjustments immediately, right then and there. I see what he's saying. I see what he's talking about. Now, just like a psychiatrist would do, she'd ask you certain questions so you could say it out loud and make you think about what you're saying.